third surgery involved, the nerve transfer surgery, again, that bumps us back up. I think that they should pay us in the rate that Dr. I believe it was Clausen charged, $500 an hour for 4 days for 24 hours of dealing with having basically the nerve ripped out and transferred, and your arm, the back of your arm, sliced all the way open in the process. After that surgery, until the end of the year, and I use that marker because his pain was still so bad, he was still on narcotics. When you're in narcotic pain, that is not an indication that things are going good. At that point, I believe though that, I think that 20 hours a day is fine, that's 140 days, and at $75 an hour, I think that's fair, that's $210,000. And that, for that period of time, gives us a total of $1,241,000. Now, when you look at these numbers outside of context, I don't know, all of these numbers are big to me. But when you look at what happened, and you look at what we're basing it on, an hourly rate that should be fairly paid, that the defendant has paid already to other people in this case, why not Mr. Maislen? From January of 2008 to the present time, I believe that the defendant should pay Mr. Maislen, I call it time and a half. What he made before, time and a half, overtime. And that is 820 days. And he can sleep now 6 hours. It is interrupted, but I'm gonna just say, let's take out the sleep part, 6 hours, even if it's interrupted, at $40 an hour. And that would be $590,000. But what about the future? What about the future? Do we stop here and say, that's it, that's no more, that doesn't work? Mr. Maislen will be employed by the defendant for the rest of his life. And I believe that the defendant should pay his hourly rate at the time of the crash, which was about $25,000, and I believe for 8 hours a day, a regular old job, $25 an hour, and that's $1,521,000. Now, how does that fit into these lines on this form? The worst period would be $1,200,000. January to now would be this amount. Future would be this amount, $1,500,000. The whole thing would equal something over $3 million. I don't know, that does not seem like a number that's going to make me gasp. It is a big number. But what happened to Mr. Maislen has absolutely crushed him in all ways. Now the form provides for categories. Pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, disability, disfigurement. Pain and suffering and loss of enjoyment of life. Even though we just talked about pain and suffering, I think that they overlap, in all fairness. I think that they overlap, and so my way of looking at this is to take the $3 million that I just told you about and split it down the middle. Half of it to pain and suffering, and half of it to loss of enjoyment of life. Mr. Maislen's disability is entitled to its own recognition. Now, a person who's sedentary to begin with, and there's nothing wrong with being sedentary, but a person who's sedentary to begin with is a lot different person than Mr. Maislen. And so when we look at what his injury has resulted in to him, we have to be careful to only look at him, how it's affected him. What is his disability to him? Not what would it be our disability to ourselves. If I had a hip like that and I couldn't, I guess, wear high-heeled shoes and run as much as I do, I would be upset. But it was Mr. Maislen's life force. So I believe that his disability, his physical disability, the way that his body has changed, and his mental disability, and his cognitive disability, all of those, I believe, fairly, I can say to you, when I value them, I believe that they can be valued at $2 million. And disfigurement, I'm not going to show you the picture. But this is a person that was very, very, I guess Dr. Weiss would say, overly concerned with keeping in shape. But he was in shape. He was in great shape, and he is disfigured. And I believe that should be $500,000. When I look at all of these numbers, I think that they're too high. And so I need to be able to look at you in the eyes and say, I believe, based upon cases I've handled, based upon the process, based upon what the defendant should know, I believe that the correct value for the non-economic damages in this case is about $4.5 million. And that's it. My recommendation is a recommendation. Mr. Danner and I would rather go back into that jury room with you and hash it out. He could tell you his opinion, I could tell you my opinion. You wouldn't probably, get mad at us, we wouldn't get mad at each other. It'd be more collaborative, but I don't have that opportunity. If I didn't tell you my opinion, you'd want to know it. And if I tell you my opinion, some of you don't want to hear it. My job is not to tell you what to do. I don't want to what's called usurp the jury's function. I believe in the jury, and so does Mr. Maislen. We started off this journey 4 days before this happened, with Mark and Mary celebrating their new life. The purpose of your jury verdict is to tell them that as a community, what happened to him was not okay. We cannot restore him to how he was. We do not blame him for who he is. He should not be ashamed, and we value him immensely. Thank you very much.